Hi, I'm Cindy Bertram. Thanks for joining me today on Good Ship Happens. And yes, it's been a very exciting week. I get thrilled about talking about new ships too, and also other ships. But Icon of the Seas, which is Royal Caribbean's ship, the biggest ship ever built, actually did arrive in Port Miami on January 10th, on Wednesday. She won't be christened and sailing out on her first voyage with guests until the 27th of January. What they did was they had the ship come earlier. They did some big celebrations, of course, first, which is great. There's a big fanfare. They came up with Port Miami. And of course, Port Miami is where the Icon of the Sea is going to be sailing out of. And a bit more about Icon of the Sea. She actually, as mentioned before, is the world's largest cruise ship. She comes in at 250, 800 gross registered tons, and she arrived into Port Miami early on Wednesday morning to a fanfare of air, land, and sea, too. And there are fireboats that actually sprayed water and planes that welcome, banners, of course, that flew overhead, too, which is great. And some of the things they did, too, was just different celebrations, which is great. And, of course, the Royal Caribbean International employees wearing hot pink shirts, and they joined the crew on deck, waving and cheering as Icon made a wave up to the government cut. And hundreds of other employees actually in their hot pink shirts, along with Royal Caribbean fans and local residents, welcome Icon into a community celebration at the waterfront Perez Art Museum. And it's really kind of fun because actually 36 years ago this month, Royal Caribbean introduced back then the world's largest cruise ship at the time, Savannah Seas. And her arrival in Miami also caused a lot of good sensation things too. And I actually get a chance to see Savannah Seas to myself. It was great to see the ship. And back then, of course, 36 years ago, that was the biggest cruise ship ever built. Of course, as I tell people, I joke people, you could probably put at least 4 Savannah Sea ships on board Icon of the Seas. But once again, her Icon's length is actually 1,197 feet long, and her beam is 186.6 feet. She has 5,600 lower guest berths and a capacity for a total of 7,600 passengers when full capacity. And she also has 2,350 crew members, too. And another former world title holder with Royal Caribbean was Wonder of the Seas. She was the largest Oasis class ship. She measures 236,857 gross registered tons. She stretches 1,188 feet, and she has 5,734 lower berths, capacity for 6,988 passengers total, and a crew member of 2,300 crew members, too. And back, of course, in the 1980s, 1988, when Sound of the Seas came out, she measured 73,192 gross registered tons. She was 880 feet long, and she had a capacity for 2,673 passengers. So once again, if you multiply that a couple times, you could probably put maybe 4 or 5 Savannah ships on board Icon of the Seas. But what's good, too, is they've got 5 new neighborhoods on board the ship, and they've got 8 neighborhoods total, but they've got 5 brand new ones. They've got the Thrill Island Water Park. They've got the Chill Island Pools Complex. They've got Surfside for young families. They've got the Aqua Dome high atop the ship, which houses their Aqua Theater, which looks amazing. And they got the Hideaway, which has a beach vibe, and also the Infinity Pool. And they've got some new neighborhoods, of course. They've got Surfside, which is for younger families. It's located under the Crown Anchor. And there's also a suspended infinity pool overhead. And what's really kind of fun, too, is Icon offers more than 40 different restaurants. So obviously, if you're going for a 7-night cruise, you won't be able to taste all of them. Okay, but that's another good reason to come back. Also, as mentioned, she's got more than 40 different restaurants, bars, and lounges, entertainment across 4 different stages. air, ice, water, and theater. And there are actually 28 different types of accommodations on board, including this brand new 3-level ultimate family townhouse. And as mentioned, the ship is going to be christened by Lionel Messil. He's actually a sports superstar. And what they're doing right now is the ship, of course, arrived earlier, but they're doing several pre-inaugural cruises with Royal Caribbean Group member employees and trade are planned too. So that's really kind of fun too. They're doing kind of some test sailings too, pre-inaugural sailings too, before she's actually christened. And then her official sailing will actually take place on the inaugural cruise is actually January 27th. And she will be operating week-long Eastern and Western Caribbean voyages, both calling at Perfect Day at Coco Cay. And that's their private out island. And that features a new adults-only area called Hideaway Beach, which is opening up this month too. So I thought that was kind of fun to see that Icon of Seas actually did arrive earlier. But once again, her official sailing will actually take place until January 27th. And then she'll be doing her christening, of course, which is great. And she arrived a little bit earlier, once again, before the maiden voyage, because once again, they wanted to do different welcome things too. As mentioned, when she entered Port Miami on January 10th, on Wednesday, there were banner planes and fireworks salutes, fireboat salutes too. And like I said, with this ship, it actually has the largest water park at sea. And what they do is, as mentioned, it's got more than 40 different ways to really dine, drink, and be entertainment. They've got 8 different neighborhoods. They've got 20 decks on board, yes. And they've also got, anybody likes to do some thrill things too. They've got their 54 feet above the ocean. They got their Crown's Edge ropes course experience. And her main voyage will take place, of course, as mentioned, on January 27th. I don't think I would actually want to do that Crown Edge ropes course myself. I'm a little scared of heights, but it sounds kind of interesting. And as far as her itineraries, just to recap this again too, is she's offering guests different 7-night sailings to the Eastern or Western Caribbean from Miami. And they all make a stop at Royal Caribbean's private island, Perfect Day at Coco Cay in the Bahamas. And as mentioned, they've got the island's first ever adults only getaway called Hideaway Beach. It's an all-day experience that's complete with private beach and pools, new dedicated spots for drinks and bites, exclusive cabanas, live music, and more. And as mentioned, with Icon Sea, she actually replaces one of these as now the largest cruise ship in the world. Okay, so that's really, I think, kind of fun to share these wonderful things too, because new ships are exciting. I love them more than ever, and it gives you so many options too. Once again, people think, well, that's too big, but once again, with 8 different neighborhoods, you've got different ways to really, really explore the ship as you want to and enjoy different things. Plus, what's really good too is it gives you 2 choices of different itineraries, Eastern or Western Caribbean itineraries. And she sails from Port Miami, which is great. I mean, Port Miami is where the cruise industry really took off years and years and years ago. And they've expanded into different areas too. But once again, with Port Miami, it kind of goes back to where the cruise industry really started. And to have the world's largest cruise ship actually sail from Port Miami, it makes a lot of sense, I think, too. But once again, with different neighborhoods, because they've got entertainment, neighborhoods, dining. The entertainment experiences are wonderful. They got their aqua park, which is great, and they have shows there too, which I've seen on their other ships too. But just definitely keep that in mind, because it just kind of builds up excitement. And look into that too. So I think it's going to be a really, really fun way to really enjoy different experiences at sea. And as I tell people, it's another way to really enjoy a good ship happens, because we need that more than ever, right? You know, we've got a lot of new ships coming out this year. Icon, of course, was a little bit due to the coronavirus thing, but once again, she has now arrived safely in Miami. Her official sailing won't start until the 27th of January. In the meantime, she's going to be doing some short cruises first, more or less to get the ship up and running a little bit, and also with their staff members too. And then once again, they will have their official first sailing on January 27th. So if you're thinking about maybe taking a cruise, definitely keep that in mind, because I think she's sailing from Port Miami year-round now too, which is great. So it gives you different options too. And once again, the different neighborhoods and more than 40 different options as far as dining, restaurants, entertainment, pool areas. Their water park sounds fantastic. I've seen some pictures. I'm going to be writing more about it later on, but it looks like a fantastic experience too. Mark, did you have any questions for me on that, or anything you want to bring up about Icon of the Seas? I love the name too, by the way, too.
Yeah, that's a great name, Icon of the Seas and everything. And I've actually got a video of them making their arrival. So let's check out this video of the arrival. And then I had a question about that I'll ask about the certain things that are there, because I did see that there was a Starbucks there and an art museum and other things. But let's check out this report. It actually is coming in and everything along those lines. I did see a report, and we can play that one as well, because it's not that long, from one of the Miami stations, and they actually get into some of the details of what was there. And let's check this out as well.
I saw that too. It's great. Yes.
Now we are taking you all aboard the biggest cruise ship on the planet that'll soon be sailing from South Florida.
Littleton's Trent Kelly is live to take us inside the Icon of the Seas. Trent, a tough day on the job, huh?
Yeah, tough day, but you know, Louis, someone has to do it. Check it out. I am in the world's first swim-up bar at sea. This just one of the many unique and cool features you will find on board Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas. This massive 250,000 gross ton cruise ship making its grand arrival here at its new home of Port Miami yesterday. And now, for the very first time, we're getting to show you some of the cool and unique features that are on board this one-of-a-kind vessel.
We sought to create, and we believe we have created the world's best family vacation. And to do that, you really have to offer something for everyone.
An engineering marvel opening its doors for the very first time. Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas is not only the largest ship on the planet, but also offers new state-of-the-art experiences everyone will enjoy.
Never have we really sat in a room and said, let's go build the biggest. Really, it was, how do you provide something for everyone?
Jay Schneider is the company's Chief Product Innovation Officer, appropriate since Icon is all about innovation.
And the ship originally was designed to be smaller. And over the journey, as we build out new neighborhoods like this, it got us to the point that it just happened to be.
One of the most visually striking things you'll see on board this ship is right behind me. This is called the Pearl, and this is essentially the first thing guests will see when they enter the Icon. In addition to serving as the heartbeat of this ship, it also is a huge kinetic art sculpture, and it actually helps to support the side of the ship, allowing Royal to open up the promenade, putting in these huge floor-to-ceiling windows. Another feature of Icon are all of the unique food options they have on board. Right behind me is the Base Camp, which is just one of 20 different restaurants on board. That's on top of 40 different bars. Right here, I've got the new Wisconsin cheese curds. Let's give them a try. Oh, that is good. The ship also features a new neighborhood right at the front called the Aquadome. The area, which is part event space and part lounge, offers guests sweeping 270-degree views of the sea. A one-of-a-kind experience that's sure to keep the whole family entertained. What is your initial impression of the Icon?
We are mesmerized and wowed. We have never seen anything like this, and we've been on a lot of cruises.
Yeah, and I'll tell you firsthand, I've been on a lot of cruises, and I myself have never seen anything like this. So the weather might not be so great right now, but you know, it's still a good time here on the Icon of the Seas. And that was just scratching the surface there. There's so much more on board that we didn't have time to get to. You've got the world's first water park at sea, featuring 6 different water slides. But I don't know about you. I am enamored by this swim-up bar. I don't even have to leave the water. So, bartender, maybe a little something if you don't mind. Yeah, look at that. Okay, now we're talking here. I think I'll like Icon of the Seas, guys. So, but you know what? I think I messed up. There's a hot tub right over there. I think I should have gone live from the hot tub because this water's a little cold.
You are living it up.
Hey,
okay.
Still a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy.
What you do on your time is your business, Trent.
I don't know what's in there, so yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, have fun. Thank you, Trent.
Yeah, but he's having a good old time. There's all kinds of things going on there. They got theaters, they got bars, they got all kinds of amazing things going on in that space. The question I was going to ask you, because I got some friends that are into entrepreneurship and all along those lines, is do they ever have entrepreneurs on the ship? Do they ever allow their workers to have side businesses and everything like that? And I was like, I don't know. I should ask Cindy. Cindy's the cruise lady and everything. So I know that they may have folks that have side businesses like they do on the mainland and everything. I know that definitely the people that you go to, because I definitely I can go to the Caribbean. There's a number of people that will have shops that are there, right, that are set up that by the folks that are in those different villages and communities and all along those lines. But I didn't know if they ever allowed entrepreneurship on the ship. And I was like, I don't know. I should ask Cindy.
I don't think so. What you have to do is if you want to get something on board the ship, you have to talk to their corporate headquarters first,
right,
to see too. But once again, too, something I've seen too is sometimes you'll see organizations, they might decide to have a conference on board the ship.
Mm-hmm.
They have different speakers.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then the speaker gets on board, and they can actually, if they've got a product, they could actually use that as an avenue to kind of showcase what they do.
Right. Yeah, they got speakers that might speak and do conversations on the ship and things along those lines. So I guess that could be a form of entrepreneurship, and maybe even the ships sometimes may even pay for those speakers to come on board. I'm not sure about that.
Right,
but,
right. Because it depends too. Because I know there's one company they work with different cruise lines. And I know their president, she actually worked for Royal Caribbean a long time ago, then switched off different roles. And there's one company she's now president of. I haven't seen her for about a year at a previous conference. So they work with different cruise lines as far as the they're kind of like the shops on board the ships, what they provide. Okay. And I can share more about that a little bit later on too. But she was actually on the celebrity ascent, the pre-christening too. I think she's standing aboard for the christening, but the company she's president of is one they work with different cruise lines as far as the different types of shops and products they have on board their ships too. So that's another avenue too. Just there, because there's so much business on board the cruise ships too. Because once again, the rule is, of course, usually I know the casinos can't open if they're in port. Okay, that's just a general rule. Okay, and what they do is though usually the shops are not really open when you're getting off on and off the ship, but when you're at sea, then the shops open up.
And I saw something. This was from a couple of many years ago, but apparently there was something called speakerscruisefree.com. So there were folks that were literally, I guess, going, like you said, and doing cruising and speaking while they were on the cruise ship. So like I said, this was from almost a decade or so ago, but it looked like there were some people that were literally going on these trips and actually being able to speak as lecturers and all along those lines. As a matter of fact, it looked like Oceana Cruise enrichment lecturer Ken Beatty, and this was only a few years ago, talked about the most magnificent water lilies in the Amazon and the Victoria area and everything. So it does look like even now they have some guest lecturers, because I was also seeing one about Mark Stedman, who was a guest lecturer that shared some of his favorite remote and difficult to reach destinations when he was visiting New Zealand. So it does look like there is some cruise speaking possibilities if folks are wanting to do that, and that might be something that folks can find out that there are ways that they can get on a cruise as part of their speakers series and everything. So I'm sure that they have different speakers and all along those lines.
I can check in that too, because once again, a lot of times when people organize groups, like for meetings, whatever, but then the good thing is you're doing it on the ship and you can take some time to relax. But once again, they do meetings and things, but they have speakers on board too. And that's something I definitely want to look into too, because sometimes you'll see different associations that will maybe charter out a cruise ship.
Right, exactly.
Just maybe have a special annual conference having over the cruise ship, and they have different topics and things. I'll check in that. Sounds really good too, because once again, we're talking about things that were the ship as far as the shops, and the company was going to bring up too. It's called Starboard.
Oh, wow.
Starboard Cruise Services, and they work with all the cruise lines, and that's the one that I know Lisa is actually the president. And what they do was on some percent they were launching some partnerships with different types of shops on board the ship, on that ship, and she's on board.
Cool. We'll check into that and everything. I'll see if I see any current things, because those were from a few years ago and everything along those lines. But definitely I'll let you get back to the conversation. But that's something I was curious about. So I was like, let me check with Cindy and see what she knows about that.
That's a good question too, because I want to check into that too. Like I said, the big thing is right now, groups are a great way to really have fun and still get things done, because once again, you see different associations and even businesses. Well, actually, instead of having their conference maybe in a location on land, they do have these taking place on different cruise ships, which is great because once again, with the cruise ships, you can actually reserve the meeting rooms in advance. They usually don't charge you, where if you're actually doing your conference at a hotel, they charge for the room space. Okay. So definitely keep that in mind too. If you're thinking about organizing even a smaller group type thing too, for meetings with cruise ships, they include so much more as far as the value. And I think that's another value as far as thinking about maybe doing a group cruise, maybe for business meetings too, because you can still have time to do your meetings, then relax. And you've got, of course, the food's included, and you've got different entertainment options, of course, too, on board, which is great. So definitely keep that in mind, because once again, people don't realize what the options are as far as the possibilities. And I think the positive things about doing maybe a meeting, maybe a conference, a short conference on board a cruise ship too. And they don't have to be big, seriously. Something else that just came up too is we're seeing a lot of growth in different ports as far as where cruise lines are basing their ships. And this just came up this week with MSC Cruises. What they did was they just announced that they just opened their sales for new itineraries sailing out of Galveston, Texas. And it's really great because, once again, guests can sail from Texas to Mexico and Central America on board the MSC Seascape on 7-night sailings beginning in late 2025. And the Seascape is one of the newer ships. I was actually in the christening of the Seascape. It's gorgeous. And what they're doing is they just announced this week, but starting November 9th of 2025, the Seascape is going to be sailing from Port of Galveston on 7-night itineraries with destinations that include Costa Maya, Cozumel, and Roatan. And also with MSC Cruises, they offer a wide range of shore excursions, from tours of the ancient Mayan ruins and also shipwreck snorkeling to glass bottom boat rides and museum tours. And with what's interesting about the MSC Seascape, I was on board a christening a while back, but also she's got 7,500 square feet dedicated to kids space and amusement options. And what's good too is they've got this Roboton robotic arm ride. I saw that was fun. They've also got.
And by the way, I found out we got to get you on some of these tours and some of these conversations, because I saw that this was actually from 2024 and it was from cruiseshipenrichment.net, and there's already some opportunities because apparently they are looking for an enrichment speaker to speak on the 8-day Caribbean cruise from Fort Lauderdale to Fort Lauderdale. So I'm sure there's some other stops in there as well, but they're looking for an enrichment speaker who can provide 3 PowerPoint presentations during the cruise. And definitely they were even saying that there's a 48-day world cruise sector from Sydney to Rome, and they're looking for an arts and craft instructor who can provide a series of classes, generally one on every sea day. So they are, unfortunately, those applications are closed, but there's some of these that are still open and everything, because the featured cruise enrichment opportunity looks like Crystal Cruises has that going on in a 17-day South Pacific cruise from Tahiti to Auckland, New Zealand, and they're looking for an experienced world affairs speaker who can deliver a series of presentations during the cruise, usually on sea days. And as you say, some of these are closed, like this one is closed that was in Australia and everything, but there are quite a few of these that are still open. There is one that is open for an arts and craft instructor from Barcelona to Los Angeles in a 32-day cruise in April of May of 2024, and they need that in the Princess Cruises. And it looks like Fred Olsen Cruise Line, didn't realize that Fred Olsen has a cruise line, but they have a 12-day mystery cruise in November from Southampton to Portsmouth. And they're looking for explorers and navigators who can provide 4 presentations on this mystery cruise. And they're looking for folks to go into that as well. So that's just something that I found on cruiseshipenrichment.net. So there are opportunities for folks to actually speak even in the year 2024. So definitely they can go to there, and as you can see, they've got a number of the ships, some that we've talked about before, like Cunard and Silver Sea and Oceana and Celebrity, that are having some of these opportunities. So definitely there might be some opportunities even for Cindy to go out and do a presentation on leadership and all along those lines. So definitely that might be something that could happen even with Cindy, our lovely host, and all along those lines. So definitely that is something that they were saying were some opportunities there.
That's great. That's great. Because the thing is, like I said, I really think when I worked for my family's agency, and I actually organized group cruises too, but once again, I had sometimes businesses, what they did was one actually had a dance studio. So what they did was they did a special cruise, but I was able to get them space. They could actually teach some dance lessons for their guests that came with them, which is kind of fun too, and still enjoy the cruise too. So once again, there are a lot of options out there. So definitely keep in mind too. And going back to with the Galveston, Texas, as mentioned, I know that Carnival Cruise Line just launched their new ship on December 23rd. Carnival Jubilee started sailing out of Galveston, Texas. And this was just a big announcement this week about MSC Seascape, who's going to actually be sailing starting November 9th of 2025, sailing from Port Galveston on 7-night different itineraries. And with her highlights as far as where she's sailing to, it's good because, they're doing Costa Maya, the Mayan River, the Mayan ruins, which is beautiful. They've got the island of Roatan, which is actually just located off the coast of Honduras. It's a beautiful, untouched island. It's known for its barrier reef And also Cozumel, of course, is beautiful. You can do different snorkeling trips there if you want to. There's also an ancient Mayan cave, the clear bottom kayaking and snorkeling. And guests can actually take tours of the city or also the Mayan ruins, which is beautiful. I've been there before too. So definitely keep that in mind because once again, traditionally we always thought that cruises always had to leave from Miami, Fort Lauderdale. But in this case, Galveston is growing, which is great. Another place you actually fly into if you want to or drive there. And you can actually have different choices as far as cruising from Galveston, Texas. In addition, of course, to Port Canaveral, which is an hour away from Orlando. Of course, we've got Tampa, has some cruises sailing out of Tampa. Miami, of course, Fort Lauderdale. Also, New York City is another one that, with MSC Cruises, they just brought back in April of this past year. They brought their MSC Meraviglia in April to sail out of New York year-round. She offers different itineraries, which is great, down to the Caribbean, also different places too. But definitely keep that in mind because we've got so many different options. And of course, once again, once we get past the winter months, definitely think about Alaska because Alaska can actually sail out of both Seattle as well as Vancouver. And Vancouver is, maybe a couple hours away from Seattle. But once again, you can still take a beautiful cruise from Seattle up to Alaska or sail out of Vancouver. And then you've got options as far as the cruise lines that offer sailings to Alaska, Princess Cruises, Han American Line. They all offer, most cruise lines offer different cruises to sail to Alaska. It's beautiful. It's a short season because of the cold winter months too, but definitely keep that in mind. And like I said, with the Seascape, it sounds really exciting. So I want to bring that up today because that just came up this week.
Yeah, just thought I would mention because I looked them up and everything, but I found a report from several months back because apparently it is one of the foreign cruise lines and everything. But I thought we might watch, if you wanted to, what Fred Olsen's got on plans for 2024 and 2025. So they actually talk about what they've got, and some of it is the lectures, but they also talk about some of their other stuff as well. So would you like to check out about what Fred Olsen's got going on?
Yes.
Let's check out what Fred Olsen's got going on.
Okay, great.
On behalf of Fred Olsen Cruise Line, it is my pleasure to introduce the new itineraries 2024-2025, and I am excited to present it to our lovely guests.
I am hugely excited about this launch of the itineraries for 24-25. The amount of effort we put into handcrafting these itineraries. There's a number of cruises which are scheduled at certain times, and that's to take advantage of events or seasonal occurrences which really enrich the cruise experience for the guests.
It is so exciting when the guests get the new brochures. A lot of care and consideration has been put into that specific itinerary. We get excited for them to be able to experience such incredible destinations. To be able to go on board and have an educational cruise each year gives us the opportunity to see and experience what our guests get to. So we learn little details that you wouldn't necessarily if you hadn't have been on board.
Not only do we have all of these incredible destinations that they can explore off the ship, but we bring a lot of that joy of the journey to them on board, whether it be through our itinerary insights. We have some wonderful lecturers that share knowledge of all these ports. We have lots of cooking demonstrations where we demonstrate local delicacies from these ports.
Taste of the Regions, I think, brings the actual destination to life, so the guests can get a taste and sample of the local dishes. On occasions, I have to go out and source local produce from the market. For example, we do a wine and cheese evening, and I will go out in Port of Call and see if I can get some local cheese from that region, something that the guests wouldn't be able to try at home.
Honestly, I like all the destinations, so I will start, let's say, with the Norwegian fjords, which they are magnificent, and it's something which I can say that we do the best.
In France, there's Rouen and Bordeaux, which are two river ports. Take a scenic route to a port, and then reach a port which has got so much interest and history and places to see is one of the benefits of going on a smaller ship.
And going around the North Sea, going to the Baltic Sea, it's a beautiful experience, and Mediterranean as well.
Seeing the pyramids in Egypt, never been and just want to see it, want to have that photo, and say I was there, and yeah, wow.
I think most looking forward to India because I've always wanted to go there. It'll give me a flavour of the country and the people, so I'm really excited about that.
Going through the Suez and the Panama Canals. What an opportunity.
Really looking forward to going into Hawaii. I've always wanted to do a bit of the hula, you know what I mean?
The Fred Olsen itinerary was quite complete in that it sort of had the really standout places in Egypt. It had the pyramids in Giza, and also it had a trip to the Valley of the Kings. So those are the two main places that I would want to see in Egypt.
We'll be in the Indian Ocean on Christmas Day, and I'm really looking forward to that rather than being at home in the snow.
Then the Pacific Islands, New Zealand, Australia, and Asia, of course.
I would say that I choose Fred Olsen based on the itinerary. Also, the fact that in the port, they tend to get there early, leave later. But I think the main thing about Fred, apart from itinerary that I choose, the staff are absolutely outstanding.
I'm honored to work nearly 23 years for Fred Olsen Cruise Line. It is a unique experience to work for a family-run business who is over 175 years of maritime experience passed through the generations.
When I read the Fred Olsen itinerary, there were so many places of interest in it.
The itineraries are absolutely wonderful.
Beautiful.
Fred Olsen based there in Australia and everything, but they're based there. And I know that one of the other videos I saw, which was like a 30-second one that I didn't grab, they were actually, I think, the last couple of days checking out the Northern Lights, because I think the Northern Light season is right now. So they were actually checking out the Northern Lights, and that was one of the ships that was going there enjoying those Northern Lights.
Right. But it's beautiful to see different things. There's so many options out there too than ever before. And it's not just a 7-night cruise. I mean, I like that. I personally like maybe 8-10 nights myself.
Right.
I can relax more, enjoy different things, and it gives you some more time at sea. I really like days at sea. Okay. I've never had a problem with motion sickness myself, but I really like the days at sea. They relax me. There's so many things you can actually relax and do. Options with entertainment, the pool areas, dining, but you can just relax and watch the ocean. I really like that. And then when you get to ports, you've got plenty of time to explore different things because once again, originally, it kind of depends on the itinerary too, but with different cruise lines, they have different itineraries. Some might say a little bit longer. Also with the smaller ships, they can go to different destinations maybe bigger ships can't get to. And that's something
they can definitely go to places that others, like you said, might not be able to get to and all along those lines. So that's always an interesting thing to go on and everything in that nature. I did see that one of the other cruises that was out there, and maybe I'll get some information with them and we'll maybe even close out with them. But there was a cruise line that was mentioned in that notion of ships and everything, and it's called Saga Cruises. So I might close out with them if that's okay with you. But they have a 5-minute introduction of what Saga Cruises is all about as well, because apparently they've got a ship that has got one of those Spirit titles and everything, Spirit of Adventure, I think it's called, and everything along those lines. So we might close out with a tour of the Spirit of Adventures from a couple of years ago, but I'm sure they're still doing their cruises as well. So it might be interesting to close out with them later on, but definitely that's one of the ships that I hadn't heard about before. So I thought I'd grab them, or maybe Silver Seas as well, because it's always good.
Oh, because Silver Seas, they just christened their new ship, the Silver Nova.
Okay, cool.
They actually did her christening. She was launched late summer, early fall of 2023, but they did with Zero in Europe. Then they brought the ship over to the U.S. and they just did the christening of her, I think on January 4th in Miami. I've written about her. It sounds great. And also they've got a woman who's president of Silver Sea Cruises. They're owned by Royal Caribbean Group. And Barbara Buckman is the president. I interviewed her back in March last year because I'm updating my book about women cruise line presidents, and I'm going to be including a chapter about her.
Oh, wow. That's going to be a new chapter is about her.
And other people, too. Another person, Pam Hoff, is the president of Avalon Waterways. And she became president of Avalon Waterways when their president decided to retire, so she's been there. And Avalon Waterways is owned by the Globus Group, which is great. And
well, actually, it looks like they did a a naming of that ceremony. So maybe I'll find that video because it
Right.
looks like they named the Silver Nova, and that was done earlier in the this particular year. So it was done
Right.
in
January.
2024. And there's like a little 2-minute video about that. So I'll see if I can't find that, and maybe we'll get that even before we get to the other one and everything. Because definitely it looks like they've got a whole video about what they did. It looks like about a week and a half ago, maybe a week ago,
Right.
back on
Right.
the 4th and everything. But they
January 4th,
looks like
yes.
they've had the pictures of the folks that were there celebrating and a little bit about the Silver Nova. So I might
Right.
grab that one and everything and see if we can't have a conversation around that before you end it and everything. So I'll try to get that video for you. Right.
Great. Well, anyway, something else that just came up too is if we talk about what cruise lines are doing as far as sustainability, and people are not aware so much what they're doing. I really love what they're doing myself. They're going above and beyond. And one thing about the Cruise Lines International Association, they set a deadline. They want to make sure that all the cruise ships in the world are going into liquefied natural gas, limited emissions, no emissions. And they're really, really working very hard on that. A lot of cruise ships have just launched some new ships that are LNG, liquefied natural gas. Also, they've got some ships that actually can be plug into power when they're in a shore location too, which is great. But something else that came up too is with Atlas Ocean Voyages. They actually started in late summer of 2021. They were still going through the pandemic with COVID-19, but they actually successfully launched their first ship in 2021. Kept a very limited capacity over in Europe. But what they did was they just announced a collaboration this week with Orca, ORCA, Okra. And that's this is a pioneering marine conservative charity, which is dedicated to the study and protection of whales, dolphins, and porpoises, along with ocean habits globally too. And what they're doing is, with Atlas Ocean Voyages, becoming a citizen scientist on board their 2024 Antarctic expeditions in the World Navigator. They're going to have hands-on workshops to record environmental and sightseeing information that contribute to conservation and marine life protection. So that's something else to keep in mind too, because once again, the cruise lines are really, really pushing hard to do things. So we're getting rid of the like I said, with liquefied natural gas. That's how they can reduce the emissions in the ocean. Also, another example is with the MSC group, their MSC Foundation. They've got their private out island in the Bahamas, Ocean Cape MSC Marine Reserve. And when I was there for the christening of their new ship about 2 years ago, they were doing a sand cutting for a coral lab, but a lab. What they did was, I know that MSC Foundation planted 3 or 4 coral trees there earlier in 2023. They're doing more. And once again, that's also tying into Dr. Sylvia Earles. She was actually the godmother of Explorer One, their new ship, which is part of Explorer Journeys, a luxury cruise line. But once again, they're really going above and above to kind of really make sure that they're protecting the oceans in different ways too. We need that more than ever. Okay. So I just want to share that because once again, it goes back to, we want to make sure that the sea life stays alive and we are not really dumping plastics in the ocean. Also make sure that the wildlife in the ocean stays alive, whatever. But this is another example too with Atlas Ocean Voyages doing a new collaboration with Orca. I just really commend them about that too. Something else that came up too is with Riverside Luxury Cruises. What they did was they actually launched 2 ships in 2023. And what they did was Riverside Luxury Cruises actually bought 4 river cruises from Crystal Cruises, which went under after COVID-19 hit. What they did was they just announced that the launch of their 3rd all-inclusive all-suite luxury river cruise ship, the Riverside Debussy, is going to be launching. She'll have more than 40 departures in 2024. And she's going to have her inaugural voyage sailing from Brussels to Amsterdam on March 23rd this year. It's a 6-day sailing itinerary that will take guests to Ghent, Middelburg, Vissingen, Willemstad, and Rotterdam. And Jen Hallbarth, who is the CEO of Riverside Luxury Cruises, I met her. She's great. She said Riverside Debussy And of course, the Riverside Mozart and Riverside Revel dock daily in new town and city center, so guests can actually walk right off and immediately experience the beauty and the allure of inland locales that cruise ships, regular cruise ships, can't meet necessarily too. And with the and with Riverside, they're offering a special holiday offer, different itineraries, including the Rhine, the Rhone, Main, and Danube rivers along for the Riverside Debussy, the Riverside Mozart, and also Riverside Revel. And they're doing some wonderful things that I had a chance to meet Jen Hallbarth a couple of times at Chris Cup. It's an amazing person.
Sounds good. Are you hungry yet or thirsty? Because I found the SALT organization that is part of that company that we were talking about, as well as their opening and everything. So I found this lovely restaurant bar that is part of what we were talking about earlier and everything. So would you like to check it out? Because it might make you hungry and everything. So let's check it out.
Adam,
Yes.
can you tell me where we are right now?
We are in Salt Lab on Silver Nova. Is our place for our sort of hub for culinary exploration, for cooking classes. The recipe, it's about the culture and about story behind the dish.
Where you can come and learn about the food of the destination that you're in. Every day that you travel from one part of country or the world that you're in.
We're in countries and worlds.
Don't mock me while I'm
No,
trying to help you.
helping. You got that.
Every day that you're on the ship, you can come to Salt Lab
Yes.
and have an experience that helps you to understand where you are and the food and the culture and the cuisine of the location.
Every aspect of the program is to connect the food to where we are in the world. Connect what's on the plate, connect the food you're talking about, eating, smelling, drinking, to what's directly outside. So during the day, we're doing cooking classes here. Then at dinner, you can go down to Salt Kitchen, which is our restaurant.
Okay,
Yeah.
so should we go there now?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, let's go.
Okay. Why don't you sit here? So I think
Okay.
you'll get to have the view outside.
Ah, grazie. Thank you, sir.
Salt Kitchen is our restaurant that changes menus constantly,
Yeah.
every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
There's not a day we don't change menus.
I'm going to need you to just
Saturday,
really
name a
stretch
day.
that.
Name a day.
What about when I come here on Tuesday?
Tuesday we change menus.
And then what about on Wednesday?
Yes, also Wednesday, Sunday to Sunday, inclusive of Sundays, yeah.
The specials are connected, but they're not called specials.
Yeah.
But they're connected to where the ship is.
Right, there are two parts of the menu. You've got the voyage menu, and then there's the terrain menu, which is our daily special menu, which is really connected to what's out there. I mean, first of all, we've got amazing teams bringing this extra layer of sort of expertise in, a network of people who really know their stuff, I think is what's really exciting about it.
But the idea of SALT, and I think what you've done is basically distill these destinations in a very beautiful way with the many layers of this program. But I'm still wondering when I'm going to get a drink. So is it possible that you're going to take me to Salt Bar
I think
anytime
we should go
soon?
to Salt Bar.
Any
Yeah,
time?
I think you're ready.
Okay.
I think we're ready.
I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you would be.
Andiamo.
Okay, let's check it out. Yeah, this
Come
way.
with us. Yeah,
please,
I'm going to come
please
with you.
this way.
Okay.
Salt Bar this way.
Thank you. Wow, look at this.
We have our lovely bartender Pietro here. So
Pietro.
how are you doing? Good evening.
Normally we go Salt Bar means see and taste. We go in different country to discover all the different flavor, local brand, and we used to mix all these different brand to reproduce a nice cocktail or give to our guests the best sensation.
Nice. So if we're in Italy, we're having Italian spirits,
Italian
inspired cocktails,
yes,
aperitif,
Piemonte.
gin. Oh, Piemonte, nice.
And Bologna.
You know, when you go to a bar like this one, it feels like the world is at your fingertips. I think this is like next level stuff, again, with really local spirits. Oh!
Tequila.
Is it tequila? What was it?
Oh,
This matches my
Thank you,
dress.
Pietro.
I love it.
I'm glad.
I mean, I'm very happy here.
I'm happy.
Oh.
Oh.
I did a good job. Grazie, Pietro.
That's
Grazie.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Cheers
thanks.
again.
Cheers. Wow, we're back.
So come, welcome. And this is Chef's Table. Look at this space. It would be tragic not to use it as much as we can. And I think the thinking is that, so during the day, You're learning, you're doing, but also this is more of a kind of sit back, you're watching, you're talking, it's still interactive. I think it's just a beautiful way to eat a meal while also having an experience. You know, you get to know the chefs, you get to know the great ingredients. Take what's out there, bring it in, bring the best of what's out there in from sea and land, give it to a great chef, think about a fascinating menu you can do, take inspiration from where you are, but be a little more playful and creative with it.
Right.
It's not just a passive thing, but it's a luxury experience.
Storytelling is so fundamental to the idea of luxury.
Absolutely.
And so being able to be one-on-one with amazing chefs, amazing produce, amazing ingredients, and getting the backstory of why they matter, I mean, I can't imagine anything better.
What could go wrong?
I mean, a few things,
Well,
including
things could go
me
wrong.
supreming
Don't
would
do
be
that.
one of the things that could go wrong.
But I mean, look at these prawns. They are beautiful.
Oh, look,
beautiful.
magnificent. Oh my God.
And so you're doing this, you're in crudo with these, chef?
Yes, that's correct. We do the crudo.
Thank you for giving us a little preview of tonight. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you, chef.
And thank you.
Cheers to you.
Cheers. Thank you.
And cheers to you and this amazing new chapter for Salt.
Thank you. So we'll go and we'll come back later.
And also, can we go sit outside and have our drinks?
I think that's a very good idea.
I love it.
That's great. I included Salt. I wrote about them too. Yeah, I wrote about the Silver Nova, and this whole concept with Salt Lab and everything else sounds phenomenal too. It really does.
It sounded phenomenal. It sounded like it was making me hungry and everything. So definitely making me hungry and all along those lines. So definitely it was amazing and everything. And like you said, Silver Nova did have their dedication, and I've got a short video, a 2-minute video about that if you want to check that out.
Yes,
So let's check it out.
yes.
Madrina, in nome di Dio, taglia.
I love christenings.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
And they put out all the stops, had all kinds of parties. I didn't recognize who the godmother was, but I did see that there was somebody there who was serving as the godmother and all along those lines. And definitely they had a lot of other performances. And I think that was the woman that you were talking about. There was the
Barbara Muckerman with the glasses on. She's the president of Summer
Right.
Sea Cruises. She's fantastic and has such an amazing background. It was good to do an interview with her about because I'm updating my book about women cruise line presidents right now, and I'm doing a little twist on the book too as far as the title. This is something my friend Nick suggested. He says he really likes Good Ship Happens. Well, the title of this book is going to be called, I've already got it into, I'm working on the draft, of course, first, but it's going to be called Good Ship Happens, How Women Executives Successfully Steer the Cruise Industry Today.
Oh, wow. That's a great title.
It is, but people need to know that there are wonderful things going on. And the thing is, with these women, they didn't get their jobs because they're women. They've got great stories how they moved up. And I think what's good too is what people don't realize is when it comes to maybe thinking about taking a cruise, who who's the decision maker? I mean, who's the one that kind of makes the decision? Sometimes it's the wife, right? I mean,
Right.
they are. But it just varies so much. But the point is, too, is it just what I think is so inspiring, too, is we got women that are great people that maybe got to know in different areas, but they moved on and then became presidents of cruise lines. Christine Duffy is one. As mentioned, when she got out of school, she wanted to be a flight attendant, but she was 2 inches too short to be a flight attendant.
Wow.
But it was a blessing. She took a different direction, but how fun to be 2 inches too short, be a flight attendant. And then she moves into a different area of the industry as far as the travel industry, moved up and then became president of Carnival Cruise Line.
Yeah,
And with
that's
Pam
amazing
Lawley,
and everything.
she's president of Avalon Waterways, but her first job actually in the cruise industry, she worked on board a cruise ship.
Mm-hmm.
I've written about her too. She's going to be in a chapter in my book too, as I update different chapters about existing women plus new women too, which is great. So, but it's good to kind of share good, positive stories.
Yep,
Like
no
I said,
doubt about that and everything. Whenever you're ready to close out, I'll let you go out with whatever else your news you got. But we do have that tour of the Spirit of Adventure from a couple of years ago, so I'll probably
Great.
close out with that and everything. But
Yeah.
just let me know when you're ready.
Sure, that's fine. Okay, because one thing that came up too, I'm going to mention real quickly too, is we talk about river cruising, and Ama Waterways is a beautiful example. Rudy Schreiner, he was known the godfather of the river cruise industry, actually started Ama Waterways with Christine Carnes, another partner, back, I think, in 2002, and they launched it. But once again, right now is they just mention different experiences they've got. For the first time ever in 2024, Ama Waterways is beginning its European river cruising season on February 11th with 2 ships on the Danube and the Rhine rivers. And then they hit record levels in 2023, which is great, but also strong growth, and is set for 2024, 2025. And it's a beautiful future as far as river cruise industry too, because once again, with Ama Waterways in 2024, guests can do different types of things. For instance, I know that with the off-season travel, what they're doing is Ama Waterways is launching their 2024 river cruise season earlier in Europe with certain cruises on the Rhine and Danube rivers for the Ama Magna and the Ama Lucia. They're going to start on February 11th, coming up next month. And also, I know the importance of sustainability. And for 21 years, Ama Waterways has really been implementing very, very important measures when it comes to minimizing the environmental impact and also enhancing the communities. And what they do is, just to note, they've got 20 of the ships of its European fleet have been recognized by the Green Award, and solar panels were installed this year on their Ama Magna. Also, what they're doing is they're extending the use of the River Track pilot navigation system for fuel efficiency. Something else that they really focus on too is experiential travel. Guests today and travelers are really wanting longer, more immersive, authentic experiences, and they're offering their guests some different experiences too. They mentioned something about the Oktoberfest. They got different wine events coming up too. This be in the fall. And wellness is something else they're very, very adamant about too. And what they do is with Ama Waterways, they got their robust wellness program on board. They've got fitness centers. They've actually got wellness hosts on board. They've got a full-size pickleball court on board the Ama Magna. They've got offshore activities that include hiking, cycling, and guided walks too, which is great. But these are just a few things that Ama Waterways is doing too. And I just wanted to share that more too, because once again, they're a fantastic river cruise line. And Rudy, who's the co-founder and president of Ama Waterways, actually had experience as an architect a long time ago, then came to the U.S., took a different job. He was from Europe, but then he went down to South America. He actually built a raft on the Amazon River, came back and helped other businesses get into more river cruising concepts. And then and he came up with some ideas to start a river cruise line with another gentleman who was president of a big travel tour company. And then Christine Carnes came in, and they were the 3 co-founders, co-owners. And they do wonderful things. And what's great about their name of their cruise line, Ama Waterways, well, Ama means love. That's another example of what they're doing too. So let's definitely keep that in mind too, because once again, with River Cruise Line, we've got different options, and Ama Waterways is just one. And what they're doing is they're actually starting their European river cruising season a little bit earlier, with 2 ships that are going to be starting on February 11th, on the Danube and Rhine rivers. So definitely keep that in mind too, because sometimes we think, well, you can't do river cruising year round, but once again, there are different options out there too. So definitely keep that in mind. And when you think about love, think about AMA Waterways. It's another way to really love an experience as far as doing a river cruise. Okay. And then if you want to close out, of course, Mark, that'd be great with the last video. That'd be fantastic.